What is up, y'all? Sean this Game Man back with yet another reaction video, baby. And today we're back with some more of the power rankings, man. This is week 18, so I mean pretty much one of the last ones before we go in and get to the postseason. Everything's basically wrapped up. There are 2 spots left to go, 1 wild card spot and 1 division spot on each end of the conferences here. So it'll be really interesting to see who cracks it, who gets in. Can the Bengals slide in? And I think honestly though, I'm gonna go with the belief if they slide in, they're gonna be a problem. Now that's if they slide in. They might have shot themselves in the foot too much early in the season because they not only need to win but need 2 other teams to lose. So it's a long road to get in. You know, pretty difficult. But if they do get in, I feel like they're gonna make some noise to be a problem. But me personally, I think it's gonna be the Dolphins that slide in. I do think the Broncos are gonna lose, even still with the Chiefs playing backups, and slide out, and that Miami's gonna move in. That's just me though. Let me know down below in the comment section who you guys think will take that last spot, and if you guys are ready for postseason play, leave a like, subscribe, and turn that bell on so you guys know when videos are going live. I know today we're out a little bit late, so happy New Year's to you guys. 2025. Much more growth, prosperity for not only us and the channel, the second channel, the gaming channel, as well as you guys in your own personal lives, man. Let me know y'all stories. Let me tell you, what are your New Year's goals, realistic goals, not what's they called, resolutions, not New Year's resolutions, but New Year's goals. What is it that you are going to achieve no matter what, or want to achieve, and you're going to work hard to get it no matter what? Resolutions, y'all be letting them things die off after a month. I want goals, I want dreams, I want to know what you plan on doing in the future, but what you're going to do this year to make it a step closer. You know what I'm saying? It's like me, I want to get this channel as big as possible. I want this to be big for you guys. I want to be able to do this full time for you guys. So I'm going to continue to post daily content, except for Fridays, where it's gaming channel only. Videos for you guys on this channel. The Sly Cooper series will be coming out not this week, but starting next week. So be on the lookout for that too as well. But with all that being said, let's go ahead and jump straight into this video. Week 18 power rankings. Let's see who's number 1.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I recovered just in time. Right before it, I got hit with a nasty stomach bug, which I guess is the kind of thing that happens to you when you're my age. So it was a good birthday. Got to spend it with the family, but now I'm here with my football family.
The stomach, man, I don't even, where do you even go with that? Like, you're not supposed to be sick. And by the way, if you were, you know, I know you're early 30s now, but in your 20s, like, you just muscle through the stomach viruses and you still go out there and party. The party is just starting for us here on Power Rankings as we get to some of the top teams. And no surprise.
My man's over just geeking over the stomach bug, bro. That no to play with. I had it. I mean, maybe it's because the last one I had when I was a kid, but I think it had me. Only thing I could do was sleep. I was in pain anytime I was awake. But let's go to get to this list, man. Top 8 here. Chiefs, Bills, Lions. Staying top 3, which I think should shuffle a little bit. At least put the Lions above the Bills. That's disrespectful. Minnesota, I'm okay with that 4. Eagles sliding down or flip-flopping with them to 5. I still say the Eagles are better than Vikings. Ravens and Packers, looks like they flip-flop, and the Commanders staying at 8. In terms of who would win scenarios, I still think Detroit's better, but I understand Chiefs being up there with only 1 loss. So Chiefs, Lions, Bills, Eagles, Ravens, Vikings, Packers, Commanders. That's me. Let me know what y'all are rocking with. Actually, I don't know. The Ravens have been kind of sliding. I just can't believe in Minnesota, bro. Like, they're doing good in the regular season, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I can believe in postseason Minnesota. That's the only thing I'm struggling with.
Time for the Team of the Week presented by Truist. All right, the Minnesota Vikings sit at number 4. They move up a spot. I think you can make an argument they are as complete a football team as any in the NFL, which maybe might not be like a bold statement considering that they could be a 1 seed in the NFC. But Eric, the reality is they haven't been discussed that way most of the season.
I admit I've been part of the problem. I tell you what, Mike, you know, for a decent stretch of the season, I had them in that second tier. Good, but not great maybe. And I kept having my doubts about them. But as you've seen this team grow, and I think really especially in the last 4 or 5 games, the chemistry between Sam Darnold and Kevin O'Connell as a play caller, Darnold and his receivers getting the ball to guys like Jalen Naylor, Justin Jefferson obviously is a weekly target, but Addison's come up big. And how about Cam Akers too? You know, you lose Aaron Jones for part of that game. He makes a couple of crucial plays down the stretch. It has been so fun to watch this team develop and grow. And just the excitement, I think, that is built around this team, too. I mean, how do you not love them? I think they and the Lions going head-to-head next week. A lot of people watching from the outside with fascination wishing that their team could have the same kind of aura and energy and vibe that these guys do. And you saw it play out in the locker room after the game. What a scene. This is, I think, what every NFL player dreams to be a part of, this kind of a celebration, not just the guys in the middle of the celebration, but the ones being part of it too. And all Kevin O'Connell can do is sit back and watch his handiwork. He's done a masterful job this year. Look, I think Dan Quinn might be coach of the year, but Kevin's as good a candidate as there is. And as you pointed out, this team is dangerous. They can beat anybody right now. They are very, very, very good. Absolutely. From poppers to princes, I guess, right? You just find the right spot, the right mix with the right play caller, the skill position players. It all works together in Detroit the same way it kind of does in Minnesota. It's a group effort. Yes, there are stars on both sides of the ball on both teams, but, you know, this Lions team, I love what they do offensively. I love their creativity. I love their aggression. There's so much to love about this team. But we also have to face facts here, Mike. They gave up 4 touchdowns playing against a lot of backups. I mean, yes, Purdy was out there and all that, but a lot of San Francisco backups out there. 4 out of the first 5 drives steamrolled down the field on them for touchdowns and missed field goal in between there. So really 5 drives where they gave up a lot of ground before Kirby Joseph made some plays. The offense kept pushing the pedal to the metal, and they have that ability, right? They have that fastball that can absolutely take down anybody. But against the Vikings, a team that's really curbed their turnovers recently, got to make sure they have at least 1 or be +1 somehow in this game, because they are not really stopping people on defense right now.
Fair enough.
I say no. Now, we haven't heard officially as of the time we taped this, just a hunch.
And at the time of them taping this, at the time of me recording this, it's just the days going up. Sorry, it's a little late, y'all. Is rumored, so I guess you could say like 90% chance that he's not playing, which I think is messed up, bro. Like, me as a coach, as a owner, I get the injury factor. I would make it his decision. I would bring him into the office, sit him down, and be like, look, you're 100 yards away from the record. If you want to play until you get it, we'll let you play. We'll turn the offense around a little bit more. We'll be a little more run heavy. We will help you get it. But if you'd rather sit out and rest yourself for the postseason, that's okay too. If you get the record, we'll go ahead and just pull you. You know what I'm saying? So if he gets in the first half, we pull him out the first half. Let him sit the third or fourth quarter. Rest up. You know, if that's really the case there. But I mean, I would give it more to his situation. Like, I, as the coach or owner, GM, whichever level I am, I'm not making my decision. I'm giving him that opportunity to go. If you want to go break that record, go do it. Because that's going to look really bad. If he wants to play and you're, as the coach, you're like, no, we're sending you to the postseason. I think they said in an interview, it was Bill Belichick was talking about like how hard it is to balance that and be like, yo, telling certain guys that we care more about you basically than everybody else, so we're going to let you rest, and how that looks to the other guys in the room. So you think you make it a player decision. Ask him if he wants to play, and if he says yes, you just run with it.
But I think they sit him, and look, first of all, Saquon's a pretty selfless guy in my experience from what I've observed, people I've talked to, and then also Nick Sirianni, the coach, I think just has a better finger on the pulse of his team this year, and I think he understands the big picture here. I don't know that Saquon will push for it, and I don't think Nick is gonna throw him out there if he doesn't want to go. So you defer to the younger guys. Barkley's done it on a few occasions in second halves this year, and also with the QB uncertainty, Jalen Hurts out last week, Kenny Pickett getting banged up. To me, it's an unnecessary risk. Yeah, you'd love to see him break an all-time mark, and to do it against his old team would certainly have a poetic justice to it. But I really think the smart play here is to keep him on the sideline, rest your horse, have everybody gassed up and ready to go for the postseason. We forget how good these guys are sometimes. They kind of fall between the cracks among the big teams. But man, there is a bigger mission here, and I think Sirianni and Barkley know that. But who knows? Maybe they surprise us.
Yeah, there's different philosophies, and I don't know what Sirianni's is going to be, but heading into the Week 17 matchup, Dan Campbell, before Monday Night Football against the Niners, said, hey, man, like, we're rolling our guys out there. I was doing the post-game show. Jared Goff said, hey, this was squashed earlier in the week. We knew we were going to be playing. This is how we're wired. I don't know how Nick Sirianni's team is wired, and if we will.
Love the Dan Campbell mindset. I hate playing in cold weather state. I would hate playing in cold weather states, but let me go play for Detroit, bro. That's the environment I need to be in, me personally.
I think there is. And, how do you define a run, right? I mean, the postseason feels so short in the big picture, but, really they have nothing to lose, and they have all kinds of confidence building up, playing with house money, if you will. Jaden Daniels leads the way. Dan Quinn has been a rock for this team all year, but you also have those motivated veterans. Zach Ertz coming up big in this game against the Falcons. Maybe the Falcons helped them out with a little clock management stuff too, but you can't take away from what the Commanders did. Bobby Wagner, another key guy, Zacchaeus, Tyler Biadasz, Jeremy Chin. I mean, Adam Peters did a wonderful job putting this roster together. And I think the makeup of this roster, this isn't a fluke thing. It's a lot better roster than I think some people realize. So that gives them a chance. And you have a rookie quarterback with a fearlessness that Daniels possesses. I'm willing to roll the dice and say they can go into a road game and feel pretty darn confident about their chances. So you'd like to see the non-Jaden Daniels run game pick up a little. That's just one little nitpick I'd like to see. They were so good at it earlier in the year. But, man, there are a ton of things that they can do in these playoffs to give whoever they face a lot of trouble.
At number 6, it's the Ravens, who I think legitimately are the sleeping giant. A season ago, the 1 seed, dominant defensively, dominant offensively. They were the hunted. Now, all of a sudden, they are the hunters. And I think mentally that's a good thing for this ball club. Is I think they need to figure out how to get over the hump and get to a Super Bowl and then win that game. This might be the year. Am I crazy in thinking that there's a legit argument for this team, maybe just as much as any other team, whether it's the Bills or the Chiefs?
And I would say, me personally, I'm going to say no. Because, honestly, they're who I picked to go to the Super Bowl. I feel like they will pull off an upset against KC. They're going to win their first-round matchup, which they'll be at home for. Right now, it's the 3 seed. Would face the Chargers. I feel like they could win that. And then they would go to face the Bills, most likely in that case. That's a 3 seed. It's very hard for them to actually face Kansas City. So they face the Bills. I feel like they get an upset there, and then taking down Kansas City in another ups. And these are all considered upsets just by seeding, but I feel like they could actually do both.
I mean, look, I said if they're really the 6th best team, this is going to be a whale of a playoffs, right? Yeah. This is not your typical number 6 overall team at this stage. Now, they've paid for some of their past sins. They had trouble on defense at one point this season. They had the kicking issues, special teams in general. Those are the 2 things that they have seemingly cleaned up a little bit. So you tip your hat to them. John Harbaugh always fixes mistakes within the course of the season. The penalties, though, that's the one thing that kind of leaves me hanging a little bit and guessing. Is that going to be their Achilles heel? Is that going to be the thing that cost them a 13 penalty game? Wouldn't be a crazy thing considering what we've seen this year. They've been averaging 8-9 a game. So that's the only thing that holds me back. But I like the way you framed it. Last year, all the spotlight was on them. Lamar, the number 1 seed, the home games, etc., the first round blowout of the Texans. I think this year they're flying a lot lower, a lot under the radar, even with Jackson having a better year and Derrick Henry joining the team. So they're different, but I think they're just as dangerous as we thought they were last year.
And here we go with the second quadrant, man. Chargers and Steelers swap spots. Bucks up 3. Rams staying right where they are. Broncos down 2. Texans down 1. Bengals up 1. Seahawks up 1. That's a pretty low spot for the Texans, who are division winner, but it's probably the weakest division winner out of all 8. If I really had to say, out of all 8, it might be the weakest one. So, the way the Steelers have been playing recently, like over the course of the season, I wouldn't have said so, but the way they've been playing recently, I gotta say I agree with the Chargers being on top, and I honestly might even say the Bucks might be over top of the Steelers. Now the Rams, they might even be over the Steelers at this point. The Steelers might need to drop 2 more spots and get those 2 up 1 more. I would say the Texans still over the Broncos, and the Bengals over the Broncos. So for me, Chargers, Bucks, Rams, Steelers, Bengals, Texans, Broncos, Seahawks. I feel pretty good with that. I might even say Seahawks over Broncos, low key.
It was good to see, right, Mike? Because the last 3-4 games, even with the Broncos win, you'd seen kind of a backslide just a little bit, and you'd seen them have to work a little bit harder to get wins. So, to knock Drake May out of the game earlier, I know he came back, but, be aggressive defensively and then offensively, getting, Lab McConkey drops a pass early. They go right back to him. He scores 2 touchdowns. The return of J.K. Dobbins was absolutely huge, too. Offensive line probably played one of its best games in the second half of the season. So this was a complete performance, short week. You heard Jim Harbaugh kind of build up to this game and say, like, this is the one, guys. We can clinch it here, get in, sort of seal our fate. And they play like it. So I think he's kind of got his team ready to go. even with a little bit of shaky moments down the stretch. So bad team, yeah, they beat up on one, but still, you go on the road and perform like that, it makes me feel a lot better about your playoff credentials and your chances of pulling a first-round upset against a team like the Texans, let's say.
Odds to win the NFC South, boy, talk about a race. Who actually wants it? Well, it feels like it's the Bucs who are the favorite. The Atlanta Falcons, issues. I can't imagine what the situation would have been if Michael Penix.
As Atlanta Falcons fans, gotta depend on the Saints. But that's how the way it works. If we beat the Bucs and the Falcons win, they're in. If Tampa wins, I think they're good to go. So, me personally, I think Tampa was able to do it and knock Atlanta off, even though they were early season favorites to go ahead and do it because everybody's expecting Tampa to fall off. Our roster's looking shaken and beat up constantly, and the Panthers are just the Panthers. So it was looking like they had the talent to do it, and on paper I would see it, but better in leadership. Wins out every time.
Yeah, I mean, they really have turned it up a notch, right? And Baker Mayfield, I think, I don't know if people saw, but 5-touchdown performance, one of the best showings of his career. He absolutely went off and got it early. And, we've seen some first halves where he's taken chances, thrown picks, sort of played a little faster and looser to see what he can get away with almost. And he got away with a lot in this game because the Panthers didn't offer much resistance. It was almost a perfect game. You get Mike Evans in the end zone twice. He's almost at 1K again. Another season over 1,000 yards. Bucky Irving, the rookie running back, 4th-round pick, has been absolutely spectacular. He and Rachaad White are a great duo. Again, another sort of offensive base team that I think can really give some teams problems. I mean, they beat the Lions in Detroit earlier this season, so we knew all year long they had that capability. But they've sort of weathered the storm, fought off the Falcons, and now are in the driver's seat for the NFC South. I just love their
that man just broke 2 sets of ankles on a slant route.
Chances, even with a banged up secondary. They have an opportunity to win a game in the postseason, maybe more. Yeah, they can be, right? But those slow starts plague them a little bit. And, Cooper Kupp hasn't been involved as much as you'd expect. And Nakua's great and everything. And Kyron Williams is great. And Matthew Stafford is great. We love Sean McVay in that offense. But for some reason, they haven't been able to string together a ton of successful drives. Now, credit the defense for kind of doing its job. And they've found ways, whatever the game script is. We have to beat the Bills 44-42. We can do it that way. We have to win a little.
If you guys aren't Smooth got game, we are rebuilding the Rams. So make sure you guys head over there too.
Scoring game, they can win that way too. So you love their flexibility, their adaptability, if you will. But there's also a little bit of a fright factor with them in that, they can go through stretches where it looks a little labored on offense. So we'll see what version comes out in the postseason. I didn't know what to do with them in the rankings, but I just felt the Bucs were a little bit better, and that's why they bumped up over them. Still give the Rams a lot of credit, though. They almost beat Kansas City starters in Kansas City, so I think they do get it done and spoil the dreams of the Dolphins and Bengals and whatnot. But there's some worries with this team, even with Bo Nix coming up with that late touchdown drive in Cincy. Still kind of holding back. I have them obviously on the lower end of the playoff teams right now.
All right, the Bengals right now, first team. It's the first time, I should say, that they get a win against a 500 team or better, which was huge. They were 0-7 before that win against the Broncos. There's still a chance here. Story it for me.
Yeah, I mean, they found a way like zombies to just sort of fight through the morass here and get their way to a position where they can make the playoffs, which I didn't think was possible a few weeks ago. But it says here, I think they're going to come up a little short, mostly because of the Denver-Kansas City situation. But you have to love the fight that Joe Burrow has shown. T. Higgins going off. You'd love to see him back in Cincinnati, unless you're any of the other 31 teams, I suppose. But this team still has firepower, still has guts. They just didn't have the right kind of lay of the land this season with the early losses. Really put himself in a hole.
Eric, real quick, if Joe Burrow won the MVP, would you be upset?
I think it would have taken them, needing them to get in the playoffs, and maybe it still happens. But, yeah, I mean, the way he's played this year, hard to argue. He, Allen, Jackson, I mean, there's so many great choices. Saquon, I mean, you really can't go wrong.
And what I think they should start doing is take record out of it. How much worse would your team be without you producing at that level? If you just put the average midline player in certain spots, so average quarterback, average running back, average receiver, if we take you off that team, how much worse does your team get? The Bengals might not win a game. The Bills, I think they got fantastic talent around Josh Allen. Now, did he win them a couple games? Yes. There was a couple times where the defense choked it. So, I mean, they would still lose a couple more games. But would they still be a postseason team? Yeah. Baltimore, without if they don't get another mobile quarterback, they may be okay. But if you go put in like for example, a Baker Mayfield on that offense, I don't think it works. You'd have to put in a Jaden Daniels, a Russell Wilson, a Justin Fields. You'd have to put in a quarterback that can move and run read options. Baker, Goff, and guys like that can move, I don't think would work with the scheme. So, me personally, I wouldn't be mad at all if Burrow wins it. All right, here we go with this third quadrant here. Dolphins up to 1 spot to 17 with a potential chance to go into the postseason, as well as our 18 team here. The Falcons dropping 3 spots, although I believe the Dolphins will. I don't think the Falcons will. Cardinals staying put at 19. 49ers and Cowboys switch spots. Colts, Saints, Bears. Pretty much after 18, we kind of stopped basically caring. Everything will probably stay the same. It'll probably still move, but, we got our playoff teams pretty much set here. It's just going to be whether or not the Dolphins or Falcons are able to slide in. So, outside of that, though, let me know where you guys rank this middle third. And obviously, probably will barely spend any time on the fourth quadrant, but let's go ahead and jump back into it.
Well, he looked a lot better last week. He had more yards at halftime than I think he did most of his starts when he filled in earlier. He was kind of thrown into the fire when Tua was out. So, I love the way he's always been a pro's pro since he came into the league as an undrafted QB. I think he's a gamer, and he'll give him a great chance, especially if the Jets mail it in after a terrible performance up in Buffalo. So I think they'll take care of their end. Depends on what happens in Denver. So still a little bit iffy.
Yeah, once again, a win against the Jets coupled with a Chiefs win against the Broncos means it's Tua and company into the playoffs. At 18, it's the Falcons who drop 3 spots.
With a still a chance to get in.
Disappointment. I don't know how else to describe what we've seen in the second half. I kind of wish we saw Michael Penix earlier this season.
Yeah, I wish we saw Bijan Robinson out there for the entire game, too. He was really kind of tearing some holes in that Washington defense. And, Penix was working his way through it. This looked like a typical kind of early quarterback start. He made some brilliant throws, had that terrific one late in regulation, but why no timeout? My goodness, that was what I was screaming at my TV. I assume a lot of people were, too. Cost them about 20 seconds and really cost them a chance at moving up and giving themselves a better field goal shot. So, disappointment. Too late maybe on the Penix call. We've talked about that for weeks now. Too late on the timeout call. So a little bit of heat on Raheem Morris in a season that was looking very promising, as you said. At 6-3, season sweep over the Bucs. They were in the driver's seat, and it appears, at least right now, that they're going to end up blowing that lead.
Yeah, they will need some help. They need to win against Carolina, and they need Tampa Bay to lose to the Saints in order for the Falcons to win the NFC South. Teams 25 through 32. The Panthers, speaking of...
And then here we go with just the last quadrant, you guys. Panthers, Jets staying at their spots. Raiders, Jags, and Giants all moving up 2, 2, and 3. And while the... Giants move up 3 spots. While the Browns, Patriots, and Titans all move down 3 spots. So who's getting the number 1 overall pick in the draft? Who knows? Because everybody that gets that spot ends up winning the next game. I don't know who's getting it.
I take a deep breath, and you know this, Eric. I am a Giants fan. I was hoping we would get the number 1 overall pick. Still could happen here, but right now the team that occupies that spot, fortunately, is not in the market for a quarterback. I'm just saying, the seat warm for Coach Mayo in your number 1?
Why would it be warm?
Yeah, they got the Drake May part right. Did they get the Mayo part right? That's, I think, what Robert Kraft has to sort of triage this offseason and figure out. Like, do I have the right coach in place? We knew that Bill Belichick would always fix issues. We're not as confident now with the smaller sample size here with Mayo so far. And when you hear his players talk about the need for change and being kind of vague about it and not exactly, remember, Mayo called a lot of his team soft earlier in the year. That did not go over very well. I kind of wonder what the back channel conversations are like. Now, Ian Rappaport and other folks at NFL media have reported more likely than not, Mayo gets another shot. And I'll be fascinated to see what ends up happening if they do get this number 1 pick. But yeah, what changes are going to be happening? Is it just to the other parts of the coaching staff? Or is Mayo looking for a new job and somebody like, who knows, maybe Mike Vrabel coming back to Foxborough? We'll see. There's a lot to figure out. They got the quarterback part right, but they have the other 21 positions on the field that they really need to solidify.
Last year in the draft, and not to go down this rabbit hole with you, I felt like they should trade out of that position because there are so many needs to this roster because they have the quarterback solved.
If you get a lot of good draft
they're looking at a top 1, 2, 3 pick again. I don't know if it makes sense to stick in that position. I think there's a lot of holes to fill. Regardless, it's always great to work with you, Eric. Happy belated birthday once again. Appreciate everyone watching Power Rankings.
Happy belated birthday to the king. But nah, for real, like, I think it makes sense to trade back, if we're being honest. I mean, if you're able to get a good haul, like get their first round pick, maybe a 2, a 5 or 4, like matching up with some other picks there, like get a couple other top 100 picks, top 90 picks, maybe even for the number 1 overall spot. See what you can get, because obviously if you guys believe in Drake, man, you guys think that's the answer, stick there. But I honestly think a better halfback might be able to help out. There's a lot of problems on the defense that could help out. I mean, if you guys haven't seen, go check out my New England Patriots rebuild that I actually started before the Rams one, where I ain't gonna lie, my coach did get up getting fired. But watch up to that point, man. It was a really interesting series, and we actually had a lot of growth and development from that team by fixing the defensive side. So just saying, cornerback room, linebacker room, pass rush room, there's a lot of fixes there that can be made, and trading back can help you get more draft picks to do so, or even trade for a player and draft picks, maybe just not as many, but to help fix maybe one of the 2 of those issues too as well. So let me know what you guys think down below, what you guys would do with that number 1 pick if you guys were the Patriots, as well as where is your team sit at in postseason play or draft position. Catch you guys in the next video, where next week will be the last week of the season. See you guys in the next one. Boy, Shanti Smooth, get Black Avatar, King Leo. Catch you guys in the next video, man. I'm going for the day. Peace.